These are the people who don't let you bring, like you can't go on with car keys, beep, stop him, he's got car keys, So, so I really didn't feel at all that I'd been unfair when that came out. So anyway, all those elements went together, and that's the beauty of living in Miami, and that's probably why there are so many books written based in South Florida. It's just rich in. It's festering with plots,
You don't really have to make it up, do
No,
you?
Carl, this is what Carl has always said.
Right.
He said whatever he makes up is never going to be as weird as what he's going to read the next day in the Miami Herald, and I really think that's true. That's a big reason why there are so many South Florida writers.
It is, and as a corollary comment, I often speculate on why there are 0 crime writers that live in Arizona. and I guess
it's because
we can
Arizona
tell.
is a nice place. It's not festering.
Yeah.
It's not festering.
It is. I do think it's interesting. Santa Fe and Miami and Los Angeles and San Francisco, New York, are kind of like hotbeds of crime and attract numerous writers.
Yeah, you just read the paper every day and things keep popping up.
I think that's really true. We have guys like Charles Keating and Evan Minkham. Nobody wants to write about him anyway. But what I was thinking, going back to my comment about watching this little moment on the Today Show, is that I have never really talked to a mystery writer, and I've talked to a lot over the last 10 years, who isn't good at asking what if. The whole framework, the mental framework for somebody that wants to construct plots for crime novels is always this what if, And I thought when you said, here's the game, and I'm seeing the kid going in, with a girl, and he's going to shoot this little girl, Jenny, and what if 2 real guys, hitmen, come in at the same time? I thought, God, he's got the disease. I mean, seriously, because that is the whole approach that you have to take to constructing, I think, this kind of novel, which I, by the way, think of as really a caper. It's not a detection.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not
there's
a
really no
thriller.
mystery, and almost everybody in it is pretty stupid.
Well, Leonard writes
people,
capers, too. I
that's
think
true.
that's
true.
his strength.
People kind of lumber around and constantly do the wrong thing for the wrong reason, or do it badly.
And it's a whole lot of people pursuing different agendas that somehow there's some synthesis or whatever it is at the end. And
right.
I thought, I think that you probably are more of a born caper writer than you may get suspect. So one of my questions...
A born caper writer.
I do. I really do. And it may be the newspaper training or your worldview or whatever, but when I heard you say, okay, I asked the what if question, and I thought about, you say that you talked to Leonard and 1 or 2 of your friends, for a little plot guidance here, like, oh, help, it's all running away with me, or what am I going to do with these characters? Some of them are taking over. I've heard all this before from people who do this well. I have a feeling, which I will, may or may not prove to be true, but I'll get to find out, that you're not going to be able to resist doing this.
No, I mean, in fact, not only do I have a feeling, I have a contract, so
Aha!
I have a deadline, so I have to write another novel. And
so this is not a one-off, this is not Dave Barry's first and final fiction?
No, I really liked it. I mean, it was too much fun to not do again. It was very, very satisfying to think it all through, because it's like a puzzle. Elmore Leonard said, and I don't think he was the first one to say it, but he said it, that if he knew, I mean, the issue of outlining and that kind of thing, came up. Do you outline your book? Do you know what your plot is? And he said, if I knew how it was going to come out, I wouldn't write it. The whole point of writing it is to see how it's going to come out after you ask that what if question. And that was what I really liked. I liked the figuring out, and I also liked that when I knew where I was going, and at various points, I would say, okay, I don't know where it's going to end, but I know how I'm going to, where I'm going to get to, and then I'll figure out where I'm going next. And it was those times when I knew where I was going that the writing was easier for me than any column I've ever written. It just felt more like, just felt fulfilling. I didn't have to keep thinking of punchline, punchline, punchline. I would be, into this character and that character and how they were interacting. I really enjoyed that experience a lot.
Did the characters kind of tell their own stories to you after a while?
Absolutely. The character that turns out to be the biggest villain in the book. And when I started the book, I had no idea that character was ever going to show up again, ever, after the first scene. And not only did he come back, but he comes back and becomes a very bad person.
Is this Snake who gets his ankle whacked in the bar?
Yeah. Snake was a minor character at the beginning, and he became a major character. He just insisted on it. He kept coming back, and he was bad. He was mean, So
And dumb.
And dumb. And that's
Terminally dumb.
Terminally dumb. Which is sort of key to the way. But dumb as he is, he turns out to be smarter than the security at Miami International Airport.
This is true, and if he'd only known a little something about planes and open doors, but anyway, different point.
But one of the most important things of all for me was to make sure that I had written, if nobody else, I can say that I wrote a book where the airport security people arm an atomic weapon and then send it on.
Hoping that it will disappear into the Gulf. But you know, there was a nice play there, because my favorite character in this book is the one you haven't yet touched upon. Puggy.
Puggy, yeah,
Puggy.
no, Puggy's the hero, and again,
Right.
I wanted a hero that was not heroic. I didn't want anybody in this book to be heroic. I want some people to be likable, but I don't like books where somebody's perfect, you know, his aim is always true, he can beat up everybody, he's always got everything figured out, he's always smarter than everybody. Everybody in the book kind of is, some of them are pretty good people, but nobody in the book is a genius, and nobody in the book is brilliant at anything. Puggy, who starts the book and ends the book, and appears at key points all the way through the book, is a hero who's really only interested in drinking beer. You know, he's a little loser of a guy who shows up in Miami, gets a job voting, which Miami's one of the few places in America where you can do that for a career, and just like bumbles into.
And he moves into a tree.
Moves into a tree, and he every now and then does the right thing, usually without thinking about it. He does something good and heroic. Several times in the book, he turns out to be essential to keeping the right thing happening. But he never really knows it, and he never does it because he wants to be good. So, but I like Puggy too.
I really do. He's got good instincts, but it was kind of a nice play, because you've got Puggy and Snake, neither of whom is as bright as practically anyone else in the book.
No, they're
and yet
both
one
stupid.
of them, yeah, they really are. But one of them basically is good, and the other one is basically bad.
Very
and
bad.
I thought that you had a very nice, you know, play balance between the two of them. And I loved the last line of the book. I thought that was, you know, after you've done all this stuff, you ended up on this really, I hate to use the word sweet, because it'll probably make you go like so, but it was sweet. You know? And Puggy is sweet.
I was accused of being a softie in this book because I actually hardly kill anybody. There's a certain amount of violence, and there's some graphic language, but hardly anybody really gets hurt, and only people who really deserve it get really badly.
Yeah, it's kind of a moral fable in its own way.
Yeah.
Do you have a title for your new book?
No. If you think of one, let me know.
Or
I didn't think of this
do you have an
title.
idea for your new book?
No.
Not yet.
No, I have to write another book in between. I have to write a humor book about the federal government, which should be not difficult, you know.
You could probably just make that one up, too.
Right, that'd be 15 minutes of research. But then I'll have to think of it. I didn't ever come up with a title for this book. I came up with 15 titles, and Neil Nyren rejected all of them. And he came up with Big Trouble, which I actually like a lot, and I liked it right away. But I've never been good at titles.
It's nice to have an editor who's so fond of you. Neil started telling me about this book months ago.
Oh, did he?
Yes, we emailed back and forth, and he was just so excited about, you know, and what he kept saying was not, this is a big name, or, wow, this is a big coup. He just said, this is a really good book.
No,
And
yeah,
I
and
thought,
he was very encouraging.
Cut right to the chase, you know. I mean, that's the important part.
Well, he's a wonderful guy, wonderful editor.
He is.
I hope this doesn't ruin his career.
No, I think he's coming out of it looking golden. But you do hang out with a number of writers, some of whom I might add are compulsively different than you. For example, Ridley, you know, the relentless outliner.
I know, you know.
And Jeffrey Deaver, I was talking to him the other night. I know he's not one of your sort of intimates, but he was revealing that he has like a 125-page outline rolling into before he starts the story. And I don't know if you know this, but Ridley and I have an editorial relationship because we did his third Wendell McCall book together, which we're publishing with Poison Pen Press. And boy, did I get to find out firsthand, you know, just how compulsive Ridley is about
I know, Ridley and I are
detailing his story.
I know, we are really close friends, Ridley and I. I mean, we've only known each other since 91, 92. We met through this rock band we're both in, the Rock Bottom Remainders. But we're just really tight, great friends. But there could not be two less similar writers.
Absolutely.
When
I
see what he does, like I go visit him in Idaho, and I look at what he's got like 9 separate, complete rewrite revisions of, you know.
Numbered.
He's got every outline he ever did. He's got